I want people to know that while academic achievement is very important and standardized tests are certainly an important measure, that our emphasis is and always will be the whole child. We are not satisfied with good, strong, standardized test scores. We want kids who are world citizens. We want kids who can speak multiple languages. We want artists. We want people who appreciate art. We want people who are creative. We want people who are great writers, great public speakers, and above all, people who are committed to the community and helping people who are more vulnerable than we are. And so when I think about this school district, and I look around at the custodians and the bus drivers and the nurses and the teachers' aides and the teachers that we hire people who care first and foremost about that child and his or her development as a person. There is nothing more important to our parents. There's nothing more important to us.
A funding crisis had already begun when Dr. Hoernemann became Avon Community School Superintendent in 2012.
Since property tax caps came into being, we've been hit over $35 million over the last 6 years. That means we have not been able to refresh our technology, buy new buses, maintain our buildings the way we like to maintain them. That, plus the recession, plus some changes in the way schools were funded in the state of Indiana, all led to us having very large class sizes and teacher salaries that have been stagnant for a while. That is what all of that came together in what I call the imperfect storm.
She started her superintendency with a listening tour.
I didn't know what people thought. And so I set up meetings all throughout April and May with various employee groups. It started with groups of teachers, and then I met with groups of principals, and then I met with custodians. And the night I met at 12:30 at night with our third shift custodians, you'd think I had given them $1 million just to be listening to them, and that's all I was doing. And then I met in small groups with the cafeteria workers and in small groups with the nurses, and I took pages and pages and pages of notes. But what's interesting is even when you get done talking or listening to hundreds of people, there are themes that emerge. And I came up with this visual image of a crew, people doing crew. My husband and I sometimes go out to Eagle Creek and we watch the crew people, and they're so athletic and they're so synchronized. And sometimes the head of the crew calls for a perfect 10 when everyone in the boat is rowing in perfect harmony. And even though it looks like all the competitors are moving at the same rate, when a crew executes a perfect 10, they pull away. And I had this image that I shared with the board that I wanted us as a district to all be working together.
The next steps were organized community outreach to business and religious group leaders. An efficiency task force was formed and found an additional $680,000 in savings. But one driving force to educate the community was a grassroots advocacy group.
The other thing that we did is that we formed an advocacy group called the Oriole Advocates. Now, these are some parents and grandparents and some people who don't even have children in our district, but who care about our public school system, who came together, and these are people who are involved. Former presidents of the PTO, presidents of the band boosters, they were shocked over the course of the last year to learn about our financial situation.
The Oriole Advocates became so committed to spreading the word, they were the ones who made a presentation on behalf of the district at a recent Chamber of Commerce meeting.
We believe that our communication strategy is helping people understand the real problems that the school is facing and engaging more people in that process of conversation, and we think that has great value.
Dr. Hoernemann reached out to the other taxing entities in Avon and formed yet another group that now meets regularly to share information and speak with a unified voice about tax revenue issues.
It's a new phenomenon, and actually Senator Miller, who is our state senator, has actually been telling other entities as they come down to the State House, this is something they ought to be looking at. So, but we found it very beneficial, and it really helps, I think, gets more bang for the buck for the taxpayers.
Regular meetings of the taxing entities collaboration have turned what could be competitors for scarce funding into supporters for one another.
I do think we've turned the corner in that this last legislative session, we certainly received relief And for the first time in this fiscal year, we will receive more dollars per child than we did in 2009. That has allowed us to add 31 teachers. Now keep in mind, we're down 55 teachers and we have 700 more students, but we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. The reason I think we're turning the corner is not that we're out of the woods financially, but we have everyone moving in the right direction. It's very humbling, and what I try to remember is I'm just a surrogate for the other 290 plus Indiana superintendents. You could be interviewing and talking to any one of those almost 300 public school superintendents. And the reason I know that is that when I was interviewed for this honor, I went home to write my thank you notes to the superintendents who were on the awards committee, and so I had to get on their websites to get their addresses. And I ended up spending hours learning about what they were doing. And it was a reminder to me that I'm just sitting here or standing here as a representative of all public school superintendents who do really, really great work for public school students. I just want people to know that they should think about becoming a superintendent. It's really more fun than I thought it would be. And we need strong leadership in our schools. And so I really hope that people who are sitting out there like me, who thought, I could never do that, I'm not smart enough, or I don't have the skills to do that, or I'm scared. I hope that people that are thinking like that say, maybe I ought to get involved in the next leadership step, whatever that is.
Congratulations, Dr. Hoernemann, Indiana's Superintendent of the Year for 2016.